Were you there? Were you there today? Did you see it? I can't believe it's happened. I can't believe it's happened. This isn't how it's meant to be. This is not how it's meant to turn out. I've known him a little while. I've followed him. I first heard about him. A friend of mine said that there's someone talking some really good stuff, and he's different to everybody else. So I went and I followed, and I heard him talk, and it was different. There was something absolutely different about him, and yet something very ordinary about him as well at the same time. But were you there today? Were you there? I can remember I left my work, and I just kind of spent a few days trying to get as close as I could to what was going on. People were being healed. Their lives completely changed. People I'd seen for years on the street begging, and well, I'm not very good at giving them anything, but you know, I saw them, and now they're not crippled on the floor anymore. They're walking like me, and they say it was him. And I thought, well, who is he? Who is it that's done this? And I went, and I can remember that there was this fantastic meal. We were up on a hill, and it was brilliant. We'd been walking for quite a long time, just trying to hear what he is saying, and we were really worn out. And to be honest, I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to make it home without really fainting or needing water or food or something. And then suddenly somebody was tapping me on the shoulder saying, "Sit down." And I didn't really realise what was going on, but I thought, well, I'll sit down, that's fine. And then a few moments later, I see him stood up, and he's kind of holding something up in the air, and then a few minutes later this murmur comes back, and he's giving out food. I didn't see anyone carrying loads of food, certainly not for everybody that was on the hillside, but he was just handing out food. And I'll be honest, I felt a bit greedy, but I'd eaten enough. In fact, I had a bit left in my hand, and I was able to put it in a basket for them to use another time, I suppose. But were you there today? Did you see him today? I'd been in the town a number of times, and he'd just be happily going about his business, walking. He had these friends. They kind of really seemed to stick with him. They were sort of the in group. They always seemed to be near to him. I wasn't one of those, but I kind of followed a little bit as a background, and he'd often sit with them, and they'd sit round in a circle or near him, and then the rest of us, we'd kind of gather as near as we could and to listen in to what he was saying. I must admit, sometimes when he spoke, it was shocking. In fact, sometimes when he spoke, he seemed to kind of point the finger and needle at some people that I'd really wanted to have a go at. But he seemed to do it in a direct way, but with love. And I listened in, and I felt like I was learning something. I felt like I was discovering something new. And sometimes some of the things that he said, they kind of come back to me. So I followed round, and I don't know about you. Were you there? Were you there today? Have you seen? Did you see him today? Have you seen what happened? Well, I followed the crowd along with the others, and sometimes it's like I had to take sides. I mean, people know me, and I wasn't sure that I could stand quite so close. Some of the things he said were a bit disturbing and a bit shocking, and I felt like, well, I'm not quite sure that I'm going to sit near the in crowd. With him. I'm going to sit on the outskirts. I'm just going to sit on the edge, close enough still to hear, but not really be associated with him. Close enough maybe to see some of the things that are going on, but not so that I get labelled with the same name. But today, it's a strange day today. Did you see the darkness? Of course you saw the darkness. Everybody saw the darkness. It was midday. Midday, beautiful sunshine. That's what we normally expect, but it was dark. I'm sure you saw that today. Well, I used to follow him, and yeah, I'm not part of the in crowd, but I wanted to know a bit more. I made a few sacrifices, you know, leaving bits of work undone, and yeah, I just followed, but didn't really want to be labelled with him. But then there was that extraordinary day. I suppose it's been a couple of years now that I've been hearing all about him. He'd been travelling around, so he'd come and people would get excited, and then it'd all go quiet for a little bit. And he'd come round again, and there'd be a little bit of a celebration or a party going on in the village, and he'd be there and we'd be joining him. But he'd still be saying things which just kind of cut right in here somewhere. But today, you do know about today, don't you? Well, there was that just not long ago. I can remember I was just going into to Jerusalem. You know, it's that time of year really. Everybody goes up to Jerusalem, and it was busy. But coming behind me, I mean the streets aren't that big, so you can't just look over the whole thing. But I just got this sense there's a lot of noise going on behind, and I hadn't realised what was going on, and I had turned round and had to back up against a wall, and there were people, you know, really getting a bit close really, and I was feeling a bit uncomfortable. But then it was like singing, and they were shouting. But it wasn't a dirge, it was a happy, joyous thing. And as the voices came, other voices joined in. I found myself joining in. Hosanna. Well, it's a nice song, I'll join in with it. Hosanna to the Son of David. And then I realised that the guy there sat on a donkey. Well, a colt actually, it's a baby donkey. It looks a bit strange really, but he was there, and I kind of joined in singing, and then I realised who it was, and I realised it was the one that I'd been listening to. It's the one that's kind of made me think about life differently. I haven't really gone completely over and tried to join in, but close enough just to hear. But I kind of got carried away. I can't believe it. I had a bit of explaining to do later, but I took off my coat and I threw it down on the dusty road, like other people had as well. It was making his journey a bit more comfortable, a bit softer on the way. And some people had some palm branches, and I was past one. I kind of embarrassed for a few moments, kind of waved it, but I was kind of joining in with the excitement, and yeah, what a day. king. Yeah, he's got some characteristics to be a king, all right. Just the authority that he carries. But today, it wasn't long after that, to be honest, I got carried away in another crowd. And I have to be honest, I don't really want to tell you this, but the leaders had kind of got hold of him. You know, the Jewish leaders had got hold of him. They'd arrested him. They didn't like what he said. What he said seemed to point fingers at them, and he'd said some things that they couldn't accept. And I was watching what was going on, and Pilate was there, and well, it was a bit exciting, really. I kind of went with the crowd, just kind of followed in the excitement of it all, really. And I mean, we get some things like this every now and then, but there was just an intensity about this. And there he was. There he was, in front of me. Not like coming in to Jerusalem the other day. Not with everyone turning and looking at him. And him, I saw him smile. I did. It wasn't like the other day. No, this time someone's been hitting him. Someone's been hurting him. And this cry started coming up. Crucify him! Crucify him! I didn't really understand why it started, but you know, it got louder and louder. It was like a chant. It was like, well, they're all saying it. If I don't say it, I'm going to stand out as different. If I don't join in with what they're doing, if I don't join in with that crowd, I'm going to look different. So I hesitated. I'll admit, I hesitated. Because I thought he was nice. And I hesitated to join in. I started by just kind of moving my mouth and not really saying the words. But I don't know, I kind of got carried away with it, really. Crucify him. Crucify him. Well, actually, he didn't look like the man I knew, like the man I'd been following. He didn't look like the man that I'd heard about, who had... They said that he calmed a storm. He didn't look like the man that I know made a blind man able to see. He didn't look like that same man anymore. It was him. It was definitely him. But it's like something had changed. But it was him. And I found myself trying to crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. And then another chant, yeah, bring out Barabbas. Oh. I've really not felt comfortable about that. And then today, you must have heard. You must have heard. It was today. They put him on a cross today. This man who had been so kind to those who were rejected. This man who had shown such love and compassion to the misfits of society. This man who talked of a kingdom that's come in. He seemed to to be the right man for the moment. Just following him just felt right. I didn't understand everything. I couldn't really get it all, but there was something absolutely right about him. But today, they hung him on a cross. They didn't just hang him on a cross. They first made him carry it. He had hardly any strength, you could see. They grabbed somebody from the crowd, I was close enough to see that, and made him carry the cross. Because there's no way that this man was going to make it. I wonder how he felt carrying the cross of such an amazing man. But today, it seems like those stories are gone. He's been shut up now. That's what they wanted. And I've paid my part. Because I stood with them. Because of stuff that's come out of my mouth. Because I've joined with the crowd. I'm one of the ones that have crucified him. That darkness was eerie. And so, someone just told me something's happened in the temple as well. I'll have to find out about that. But he's gone. And I contributed to it. I'm one of the reasons that he died today. And I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.